So one of the questions I've gotten for this new year, 2018, is what do you think is going to be the major things that are going to be happening this year? I'll be quite honest with you. It's going to be all about Israel in reality. What you're going to see on TV is going to be all about Israel? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But it's going to be all about Israel this year, man. I'm telling you. Man, woman, whatever. I'm telling you, Israel is key. And more importantly, not just Israel, but you need to be paying attention for City of David. City of David. If you're wondering what the City of David is, it's a nothing bit of property that's, few acres. I mean, less than 30 or 40 acres. Not really that big property, but it's just south of the Temple Mount. And why is it important? Well, today it's, there's a couple housing complexes, apartments, stuff like residential neighborhoods there, but most of it is a slope down into a valley area, and it's just field, agricultural field. Doesn't get used, but at the bottom of it, southern end of it, you're going to notice is the Gibeon Springs, and that's very important because that's part of the temple. And what I'm getting at here is that's where the temple is going to be built. A lot of people think somehow there's going to be some huge peace between the Jews and the Muslims, and the Muslims are like, yeah, you should totally just tear down our temple. Yeah, go ahead and tear it down and just build yours. It's cool. We're good. It's only our second biggest one. We got a bigger one. It's not even the biggest, second biggest. So go ahead. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen at all. And a lot of people think, well, there's actually going to be like some giant natural destruction happens, earthquake or I don't know, something naturally that happens, and it's going to destroy the Temple Mount anyway, and so the Muslims will be like, yeah, you know what, Jews, if you want to go ahead and build your temple, go ahead, because it's destroyed anyway. We don't even like it anymore. It's destroyed. It was our second best. We got a better one. Nope, that's not going to happen either. In reality, what's going to happen is everybody's going to realize very soon that where everyone thinks on the Temple Mount that the temple was, because it's erroneously called that in error, the Temple Mount. It's not actually the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount was not on the highest location of the mountain, of the elevation at which they were building. It's not even the highest point. So to think, it's got to be that point because it's the highest point in the area. No, it doesn't. In fact, nothing in the Bible says that the temple was built on the highest point of the mountain. Never says that. In fact, in the New Testament, it does give some references to the temple and the fact that there was a fort above the temple because the soldiers had to come down to help Peter. And people are like, well, they had to come down because they were coming north to south. Yes, they were going north to south. Yes, they were. But they were also going higher elevation to lower elevation. And that's why they had to come down to help Peter, is because the fort was located above where the temple was. So, long story short, the reason why it's going to be about Israel this year is because Israel is going to very soon get to find that they get to start rebuilding their temple, and there's not even a peace treaty that's required to build the temple because it's not on land. Where the temple is going to go is not on land that's contested. So therefore, construction can start basically whenever they want to realize that that's the land the temple was supposed to be on. And that's what we're waiting for, is for the realization, to come to the Jews, either through archaeological evidence or whatever that's going to happen, to be like, oh yeah, actually our temple is supposed to go here. So you know what? No contradiction. We don't even worry about that Western Wall thing we've been praying this whole time. Our bad. Not even a wall for us, because it's not. The Western Wall is not part of the temple. The New Testament again tells us Titus in 70 AD completely destroyed the temple, just like the prophecy said. Not one stone was laid upon the other anymore. Gone. All the way down to the bottom. That means that wall does not exist. That's not a wall from the temple. Because if it was, that kills the prophecy of one stone left laid upon the other. Completely desolate. And you think, the Roman Empire doesn't really do stuff like that. Yeah, they really do. I think there's another city that they invaded where it was the backup plan of the residents to be like, hey, look, if all hell breaks loose and we just cannot hold this city anymore, we actually have this island that's a few hundred yards off the coast, just far enough for us to escape to, just deep enough water so they can't get to right away, and we can defend ourselves from there, just hold up there until they leave and give up and go, and then we'll just go back to the city again. What did the Romans do? They destroyed their city down to nothing, to bare ground, to use the material to fill in the water to make a walkway, because the Romans are very adept at doing things like that. So when they say they destroyed and leveled a city down to nothing, they destroyed and leveled a city down to nothing, meaning That wall was not left there. That's not like the Romans destroyed the city and, they left this one wall standing. No. That's not a wall from the temple. In fact, that's probably was stones from the temple. No argument there. They probably just took those stones from the temple and refortified their fort in the area, because it was still going to be a Roman outpost once they destroy the city. So anyway, long story short, where the Temple Mount is located right now is not the actual temple of Herod and Solomon's time. It's actually in the city of David, just a little bit south. It's weird how much they missed it by, like 600 feet. Like 600 feet, literally, he missed it by. Which is also, it makes sense because, again, in the New Testament, when Paul is preaching at the temple and they hear an uproar going through the city, it's starting to spread like a big bubble, but it's spreading south, east, and westward because northward is a huge Roman complex, and so no one's running northward into the barracks to be like, hey, look, this Jew is saying some crazy stuff against the Jews, because the Romans, who would care about that? So instead, they're going south and eastward and westward into the city, going, hey, this crazy guy is saying crazy things about the Jews. We need to get to the temple right now. Stuff is going down in the temple right now. Let's go. And that's where they went. And then guess what? That happens, and then finally, like, Peter's about to get, like, stoned to death on the front steps of the temple, 600 feet away is a Roman legion just hanging out up there, getting ready for bed, having dinner or whatever, and someone finally has a good knowledge to run up and bang on the door and be like, hey, look, there's a guy down here who's about to get killed in your territory. We don't know if he's a Roman citizen or not. We don't know. We just know that these Jews are about to kill him. And the Romans are like, oh, whoa, police. We're the police. No, that's not going to happen. And they go down there and stop it, as you hear. But anyway, so we already know, again, temple below the actual castle, so to speak, if you want to call it, the Roman fortress. And that more than likely, what we see at the Western Wall today is the remnants of the Roman fortress that was built during Titus's reign there, because again, he was going to be there for a couple of years. He sieged Jerusalem for a few years and then took it and destroyed it brick by brick. That didn't happen overnight. It took a couple months to happen. So what did he do with the material? Probably built up his own fortresses with it, built up his own men, so he gave it out. I mean, who cares where it's coming from? It's Roman Empire anyway now. It's theirs. So, okay. So that's what to look for in the new year, is somehow magically, no, it's not magically, it's somehow the Jews are going to open up by Christ somehow. I don't know if he's going to reveal himself, and that's why they do it. Probably not. That wouldn't make sense. But somehow it's going to be revealed to the Jews this year that the actual Temple Mount is not the Temple Mount, and the actual place of the temple is just south of it, and they will begin construction. But the interesting thing to wonder for is one of the other things that has to happen when you finish the temple. You have to, in order to sanctify all the equipment they're using, all the utensils and all that stuff, blah, 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 you have to anoint it or put blood on it from the sacrifice. But the sacrifice isn't just any cow in the world. Like, we're just going to pick up a heifer. No, it's got to be a red heifer. And a red heifer is very, very rare, meaning that, like, I don't know, we haven't had one in, say, 4,000 years that we know of. I mean, you can Google and check it, but as far as I know, no one's seen a red heifer in thousands of years. Spotted red, yes, but not true red heifer. And those are very, very, very rare, and that's what's necessary. It's kind of like one of the proving points that God's like, yeah, I want this temple to be built, and I'm going to provide the sacrifice and stuff for it. So until the red heifer comes, which, as a point going into in the future, maybe to discuss more, is what is the actual abomination of desolation? Is it really the Antichrist setting up his throne or something in there, or is it an artificial sacrifice being set up in there, meaning that the abomination is God has made creation. We all understand that. But what we are getting into now is us trying to manipulate creation, i.e. gene mutation, development, blah, blah, blah. And what that is doing is, what if, not saying, I'm not even saying I believe this is true, I'm just saying what if, looking to think of, maybe ponder on debate, what if the red heifer that is going to eventually be provided to sanctify the materials and be provided for the sacrifice is a genetically modified cow to be a red heifer, and that it's not naturally, God did not make it, he didn't sanctify it, he didn't produce it for the sacrifice, as God would promise he would produce the sacrifice, and he didn't, man did. And that's the abomination, the abomination that leads to desolation. You've abominated the very essence of creation itself by trying to provide a false sacrifice and play it off as being real, and that's the abomination, and that's finally causing me to lead to the desolation of all this, because no, you've literally gone against the very essence of the rule itself as to why I made this rule. So you should be looking to me for the providing the sacrifice, and you're not. You're trying to provide it yourself in your own works and means, and that is just not going to fly with me. So again, side note to think about, interesting, but the big thing you're looking for in 2018 is Jerusalem and the actions in Jerusalem, especially now that America has identified Jerusalem as the official capital. Again, everybody thinks, and that's kind of the side thing, kind of the distraction, kind of the I saw somewhere where someone was talking about lies and deception, sort of like deception, where it's not that they're lying to you and saying, all right, they're not going to do it. It's just they're deceiving you and thinking, well, it's got to be on the Temple Mount, so it's got to be there, it's got to be that way. And when it's not, it's sort of easier to accept once you can get over the initial stage of accepting. Be like, all right, well, look, it's not there. Well, then wait a minute, where is it? Oh, is it an open place, like right next to it? And that place has happened to be open. There just happens to be prophecies already about it as being the place, because it was said it would be left desolate, and when we go to build the temple, it would actually just be a field when we went to it. That makes perfect sense. Oh my gosh, that's right here. That's pretty much what you're expecting to happen in this year, coming into the next year. I'm not even saying it's going to happen in like February, March, or April, or anything like that. Though you can be looking for news reports of priests and them coming together to collect the materials that would be needed to fill the temple. But the actual laying of the foundation or anything like that, I wouldn't necessarily even expect in this year to begin, but I would expect the aha moment that we can do it to happen this year, more likely towards the end of the year, because again, Feast of Trumpets, Coming of the King, stuff like that typically happens September to October area. And for some reason, whenever I do study or pray on it and ponder on the major events that seem to happen throughout history, they do stem from certain times of the year that's other feasts that would seem to like correlate with it in a weird way. Easter, for one, your Passover, Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Tabernacles, the New Year, all that. Is it Rosh Hashanah? I don't know. I'm a little bit tired. But all that do seem to correlate with major events that are happening. So I do, if I was going to predict it, again, no man knows a day or hour for this, well, for the rapture and stuff like that, but I'm not trying to say I'm a mathematician or anything. I'm just saying the way world events are, the way things I know are already working from what I've worked on and stuff, that it seems likely that towards the end of this year, September, fall, end of summer entering into fall, is when we can more expect to see something. But something to look forward to. A couple, again, far ahead of time. So when they happen, you look back and be like, oh, was he telling the truth or lying? I was telling the truth. So maybe he's not lying about the other things he's trying to tell you. Maybe not, right?